Tonight, one of Dunedin's central landmarks seems set for a shift. We look at prospects for a big new industry in the south and talk to Southland's best-known third former. Good evening. It's good to be back for what, sadly, will be the South tonight's last couple of months as we've come to know it. Changes just keep coming along, as anyone who's been through Dunedin's Octagon lately will have noticed. While public concern there has been focused on the fate of the birch trees alongside Robbie Burns, the City Council plans to remove another prominent feature, the Star Fountain. Kathy Graham's been finding out whether anyone cares.
20 years, a burst of anything from Glenn Miller to today's choice of hillbilly music has alerted passers-by to the presence of the fountain. But if you happen to miss the recital, you may be excused for thinking the council's at work on the drains. The fountain at rest, as it were, is not a pretty sight, although in its active phase it does have its fans.
Whenever the children come to Dunedin, they like to look at it.
It's towards at night, the lights are on.
Yeah. Now what the council's planning on is removing it altogether. Why do you feel you actually have to move it?
Simply because it takes up so much space. You know, it's something that people have very strong feelings about, Kathy, but we can see now how nice the Octagon's starting to look, and when we're concentrating on making it areas that people are going to enjoy and be able to use, and that the city's going to promote quite actively, music and theatre and so on, we want to create more usable spaces in the lower half as well.
The fountain's basically getting the shove to give the new redeveloped Octagon a shot in the arm. But the town planners want to keep some sort of water display. Current thinking is a gentle cascade around the perimeter. For those with long memories, the fountain's a relative newcomer. Here's how the Octagon looked before the Evening Star donated it to mark its centenary. The city fathers were duly grateful, and it's since become a compulsory stop for visitors. However, residents have often seen room for improvement.
Well, I like a fountain that's up a bit higher, actually. But I suppose some coloured lights around the trees would perhaps improve it.
But you need some seats.
Yeah.
As to its future, it's almost certainly a case of dismissal, although the council is offering relocation. Perhaps here by the railway station, adding another attraction to the area. Or here on this island by the Queen's Gardens, although the founding father would have to make way. The market reserve's also being looked at, leaving room, of course, for fun fairs and the marching girls. And there's also a suggestion of a site somewhere in the town belt. Although the Evening Star's gone, the donor family have been informed of the proposals. They're waiting on more information before commenting. Meantime, the fountain plays on in the Octagon until it's time for the last waltz.
One of the major developments over the summer has been an Auckland consortium's plan to set up a $320 million nickel smelter. It's excited a lot of interest in the south, with 3 sites here under scrutiny. Nickel prices are skyrocketing, and the developers say the smelter will go ahead. It's just a matter of finding the right site. Kim Hurring backgrounds the smelter story.
Nickel smelters like this one in New Caledonia are basically just furnaces that remove nickel from soil. Nickel is the metal that stops stainless steel from rusting. For a smelter to be viable here, the price needs to be around $3 or $4 a pound. Recently, it's been as high as $10, and the price is predicted to remain firm. The Nickel Consortium has been touring the country talking to local authorities, and at a press conference in Dunedin they outlined what they need in a perfect site. They need a 20-hectare flat, flood-free site which must have sea and land access. It must be close to power, water and high-quality coal. There has to be an existing labour force, and environmentally it has to be publicly and politically acceptable. The company says the benefits of the smelter to any community would be 300 jobs during construction, 130 after commissioning, and a $5 million wage bill every year. The 3 possible sites in our region are Oamaru, Dunedin and Bluff. In Oamaru, the harbour site and a site at Western have been mentioned. A smelter here has the advantage of a possible cost-splitting venture with a major cement company, which is also thinking of developing wharf facilities.
I hope that we're going to establish that Oamaru is the ideal site for the sort of venture that New Zealand nickel smelters want to put up.
What points of Oamaru are you going to push forward for that case?
Well, there's the harbour, which could be redeveloped. We've demonstrated that that can be done at an affordable price. There's the limestone, which is part of the thing that they want for their processes. We're close to South Island power generation. We've got a lot of people out of work, and there will be a labour-intensive industry there. We need all of those sorts of things.
Bluff, or more correctly Tiwai Point, has already proved it can house a smelter, and if one were built here it'd probably go in this area.
First of all, we're reasonably close to the supply of electricity. We've got a proven track record as far as industrial relations go, particularly with the handling of the port, and I believe that there's sufficient industrial land available in close proximity to the port that can be developed at little expense.
In Dunedin, a couple of sites were looked at, one near Green Island and an old favourite, Aramoana. The difficulty Aramoana must raise in the eyes of the developers is that this has so far been the site of the only protest action encountered by the consortium.
And personally, if I was a tourist and I'm being told I'm able to visit the only mainland albatross colony in the southern hemisphere, but unfortunately you're going to have to watch the birds flying through smelter smoke, I'd say forget it. You know, I'll go to Queenstown instead.
Although there seems little doubt about the side of the fence Dunedin manufacturers are on.
On behalf of the manufacturers of Dunedin, I would be very positive and say that we'd be delighted to see you come here.
The Nickel Smelter Consortium has now gone back to Auckland, where this trio will weigh up the 4 or 5 main sites and name 2 preferred ones at the end of next month.
An old lady in Dunedin got a brand new hat today. Beverly Begg's old hat lasted about 70 years but started to let water in, so it was time to discard the old and put on the new.
The dome on Dunedin's Beverly Begg Observatory has been patched up many times over the past few years, but it still lets water in. And water's bad news for the sensitive equipment that's kept inside the observatory. So today a new fiberglass dome was lifted into place. It cost $13,000, financed partly by the Dunedin City Council and the Macmillan Trust. It was a tricky job juggling the heavy saucer-like canopy onto the space left by the old dome. And there were some anxious moments, wondering if it would fit. There was a sigh of relief as Beverly Begg's new hat proved to be a neat fit.
George Burke with that story. We have good news for those of you who took an interest in the plight of a young liver transplant patient 2 years ago. The patient, who needed 2 transplant operations after her liver failed, was supported by thousands of New Zealanders. Sally Pears went to Otauta to find out what's happened to that 11-year-old girl.
2 years ago, this tired wee 11-year-old returned from London after enduring 2 11-hour operations for liver transplants. Her name was Tracy Holmes, and she grabbed Southlanders by the heart. The appeal that was launched to finance the life-saving trip showed just how much New Zealanders thought of Tracy Holmes. Not only did it finance her 2 operations, there was $60,000 left over. As her health slowly improved, Tracy faded from the limelight, but her many supporters still wonder what she's up to. Well, this year, along with thousands of other teenagers, Tracy started high school. She still has to take special care of her health, but instead of spending most of her time in hospitals, she's grappling with the finer points of third form economics. Last time we spoke to Tracy, she'd had a pretty awful Christmas, separated from some of her family and waiting in the hope that her body wouldn't reject its new liver. This year, things were different.
It was really good. We were up in the North Island and it was nice weather and we could go swimming on Christmas Day and it was really good.
Different from when you were sick?
Yeah, a lot different. I could eat more. I can do heaps more things than what I could when I was sick and everything's just so different.
It's not just Christmas that's improved. Tracy loves being active and involved in anything from Girl Guides to school camps. She even won a netball cup last year. But she's never forgotten that things weren't always easy. And she's never forgotten her supporters.
It's just great what they've done for me, you know. I can't believe it really. It's so good. Because, I mean, if they didn't give all that money, I wouldn't really be here today.
But Tracy isn't out of the woods yet. Regular checkups, medication, diets and relaxation will be a part of her life for a long time. But she's getting healthier every day.
How do you feel about all the people who are wondering and asking what Tracy's doing now?
Well, it's lovely to know that they're all still interested in Tracy, and I'd just like them all to know how much we appreciate their thoughts continuously about her and the tremendous support that they have been to us for so many years. and they can keep up their prayers for her because she will need it for many years to come, but she's just so healthy. It's just wonderful.
A very special young lady. The chilly spell continued today with temperatures well below what we've been enjoying over summer. Let's have a look at the 3 o'clocks today. Half Moon Bay with showery with 14 degrees. Invercargill showers and 11, the high tomorrow of 16 degrees. Balclutha with showery with 14, Dunedin showers and 11, the high tomorrow of 15. Palmerston sunny and 12, Oamaru partly cloudy but 18. Queenstown fine, 15 degrees. Wanaka clear and the high today of 19 degrees. It was cloudy in Alexandria with 15 degrees, but sunny in Te Anau with also 15 degrees. We'll be back tomorrow night. Good night.